Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends to discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honey, which can be salty, bitter, acidic, very peppery. Like very spicy, very horny. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet and sensual. We're sweet and sensual, so don't even worry about it, okay?
Hi.
Also very sexual people.
Yep, all those things. Sensual, sexual, horny. Yeah. So we're talking Love in Paradise season 3, episode 2, Rump Shaker. Rumps and a bumps. Pumps and a bumps. She like the girls with the pumps and a bumps. Pumps and a bumps. So I love that there's a song out there that refers to women's high heels as pumps,
Oh yeah.
So in this episode, we get a new couple added. Not the couple that we wanted, but it's fine. And we get Carlos and Valentine for the second season. So it's an okay episode. It didn't like drive me wild, I really am waiting to see new Chantel and Pedro. Except for the Chantel is like not trying to be a medical professional. The Chantel is actually a medical professional. In fact, a doctor.
Yep.
So that's going to be interesting. What did you think of this episode?
I also wasn't excited. And sorry, I feel like I really want to be excited. But I will say this. Is Jordan interesting, and does she have a crazy career that we get to talk about? And, is it a familiar situation where, like in the Ella kind of way or Ellie kind of way, where she's putting all her eggs into a basket of a very, poor gentleman, and then he gets to put his name in the basket, like that's what it is. Like you're putting all your eggs into a basket and he has no eggs in the basket, but then you put his name on the basket. Just that's your basket. You don't want to have that basket is what I would think. But anyway, so yeah, let's start with Carlos and Valentine. So Carlos and Valentine.
Carlos and Valentine.
As we know, they met online and they're real hot for each other. And obviously Carlos went and visited, Valentine went and visited Carlos before. And now he's going back, and he leaves his apartment in Hollywood. I feel like I know exactly where it is. I'm like, oh, it feels like that is like around, it felt like Vista and Franklin area, like to me, it felt like Runyon Canyon, but I don't want to call him out. So,
yeah, it's definitely West Hollywood though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He can't. He's thriving. He's thriving in West Hollywood right now.
Yes. He's horny. Like I said, listen, this entire episode was about horny people. Valentine is horny, and also, not only is Scott horny, Scott's dad was really horny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right.
And Scott's mom had to just put up with Scott's dad's horniness until the very bitter end, but it was more like a hard end, like a very a hard piece in the end. Okay, so horny people doing horny things. So here we are, though. They haven't seen each other in a minute, and because they are in a monogamous relationship, that means that Valentine hasn't had sex. And guess what he wants to do is get it in or whatever. But here's the other thing: is that we had a deep dive into season 1 about the mechanics. No, what's the word? Let me see. Mechanisms of their sex? Mechanics of their sex, because they're both activos. And they don't like to be passivos, and they really don't passive over anyone, but they're so attracted to each other and they want to enjoy each other. And for Carlos, it seems like specifically he defines sex as penetration, and so he would very much like to enjoy that part, and they're having to get over this. They've never had sex, and they're obviously going to get married. So they see each other, like, he gets there, it's like a lovely reunion. It's so funny for us to see Carlos have Valentine's new hair presented to him, and he did a great job because he was like, I liked your old hair. And Valentine was like, no,
you didn't. Yeah, nobody did. Nobody did it, which is why they had a whole segment about it in this episode. So Carlos shows up with a shirt that says Carlentine. Now, I wanted it to be a little bit more exciting. It was just a white t-shirt with hashtag Carlentine, but that must be an inside joke between them, with however people hashtag them on Instagram after their first season. But I thought it was really cute, and so did Valentine. So he's like, look at you looking so cute. I want to go to the crib so that we can like take a shower, change my clothes. He's very, very, very New York City. And so in the car ride, they're talking about how they can kind of get used to each other because they have to have sex. And Carlos wants to have sex. He's like, listen, we haven't had and you know, Valentine's like, listen, Carlos defines sex as penetration. I don't necessarily do so. Because to me, they've had sex. So personally, Juan and Melino, they've had sex. Like oral sex is to me sex. Like it's, you know, pee-pees and wee-wees have been touched. And so therefore ejaculation has occurred. There was sex. But I think Valentine was going to bring some toys because he's like, we got to try to see if either of us are interested in being penetrated. Because it's like, who's going to bottom first? Carlos doesn't want to bottom first. Valentine is like, I'm not interested in bottom. And you know, here's the truth. I like that there is a type in the gay community, because in the heterosexual community, men, in my experience, are always trying to like go for the butt. And let me tell you, I am not a butt bottom. Okay. Don't try to do that to me. Don't try it. They're always like, oh, are you? No, I am not. And then when I say I'm not, then sometimes they try to like slip a fit and they're like, no. I don't want it. So there's that. There are people who want it in their butt and there are people who don't want it in their butt.
Yeah. You know what part was like was a little interesting to me, and they have to like talk about this because it feels like it was worrisome. They both don't want to go first because they're both afraid that whoever goes first, the other one won't ever like go second or go at all, you know, like as if whoever. And so, I mean, listen, this part is so interesting to me because I think that I don't understand this. So I want to be like told, is it a power thing? Like whoever submits first is therefore the bottom and therefore the top doesn't have to ever allow that to happen or whatnot? I just want to know like how it, like, you know, like why would that be a thing? Like, because they do seem like they're so open with each other. Like, why would they not trust each other to like, and would it not happen the same session? Like, you know, or like, would not like, you know, like how then would it be a thing where then one of them would be like, okay, your turn, and the other person would say no, and then you would just break up because you'd realize that person had just used you? I mean, like, you know, it's such a, or, you know, I don't know. That part was interesting to me. Like, and there's a lot of different ways in which you cannot feel safe with your partner and or not trust your partner, but they both feel that way.
Yeah, because I think they think the same way that I do about anal, is that like, I don't want it. Like they don't want it. Like someone has tried to finger and I'm like the whole time just like unhappy. Okay, I don't want it. Like you know, it's and it's not that I didn't try. I tried it and I was like, no, I haven't tried it. But I mean the finger. And I was like, I don't understand the pleasure point of this. I don't understand how it's pleasurable. So maybe they're both scared and they're just like, no, thank you. But he says that what's his face? Valentine said there was like he tried once or he'd done a dildo or something. And he was he's like, yeah, I don't want it. But I think it depends on like if you don't enjoy it or if you don't enjoy it but are okay. Like, you know. Anyway, so they have a scene in the shower and the crew makes sure that we see the water pressure of that shower. So happy that Valentine was like, is this all the water we get? He didn't say that, you know, because remember that time they were aggressively brushing their teeth together. So he already knows what it's about there. He's not going to go to this country and talk about how things are Debbie third world. And I love that about him.
Yeah, you're right.
They're both hot though. That shower scene, I was like, okay, Valentine. Like, listen, Valentine is hot.
Yep.
Hot. I mean, what, Chris, I have a question. Do you think it's cultural appropriation, his tattoos?
I didn't see. Okay, sorry. What are his? Let me look.
They just look tribal. And you know, now that like the Pacific Islander, not now, but Pacific Islanders, their tattoos mean something. You put a picture of them. No, the one of them, like their original picture of like how we hear this one.
Oh, oh,
you know,
that's
Pacific Islanders are very, you know, it's not just, we're in a world of cultural appropriation. We're in a world of respecting everybody's cultures. And now tribal tattoos are not to, you know, they mean something. We as a whole collective understand that they mean something to a group of people, and should we get them?
Okay. Listen, you're absolutely right. I didn't notice for some reason, and yeah, they do seem a little like Moana, or a little like The Rock would have them. Also, look at this picture of Carlos. He's so fit. Why does he look so soft in this picture? He looks like Rishi in real life in this picture. Well, this picture is like Valentine is like ripping off his fucking shirt. He has like not an ounce of fat on him. This is what Carlos looks like in real life. Look at, and I don't mean to body shame him. It feels like it's such a weird picture. We know what he looks like. It is a black tank top covering everything, and rather somewhat softer arms. Look at that, Wah.
I don't know when these photos were taken, truthfully. I mean, they were taken recently, right? Because his hair is, Valentine's hair is normal, as well as his neck tattoo is visible. So, like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to move on to their new couple, Jordan and Everton?
Everton.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I'm sorry.
Who's that?
That's someone else. That's someone that's coming.
Oh my God, we have 2 new couples coming?
Yeah, because, okay, Lord. So this is Jordan and Everton, which we'll talk about. And yeah, we obviously was obsessed with the new Chantel and Pedro, which is this. And then I have this person's coming at some point. So I don't know what their names are. We'll find out. But that's a great piece she's wearing. But let's go to Jordan and Everton. Everston.
No, it's Everton. Oh, okay. I wrote Everton. That's what I thought. Sorry.
You know
I
what?
wrote the wrong thing.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was Everton, and then I looked down and I was like, oh, I fucked it up. Sorry. She is 38 from Dallas. He is from Jamaica. I'm sorry. I won't do it again, but I'm sorry. Okay, so they met 12 years ago, but let's just talk about her. So I'm sorry. I am sorry. Okay. She is a nudist, honey. She just like loves that like free-spirited nude thing. She just likes to be in nature, honey. She's like, her parents like raiders that way. She's a naturalist. She built a fence so no one can see her. She's just like running around cooking with her dogs, just everywhere all the time. So the other thing that she does is she, used to make money eyelash extensioning, putting extensions on eyelashes. And she's been obsessed with it a long time. And I'll tell you, even if in COVID she can't do it to other people, she's been doing it to herself a lot.
And she's not like extension artist, Chris. Artist.
Yeah.
Artist.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Art is subjective. And I don't think, it's not that I don't think that eyelash application isn't an art form. What I'm saying is I do. Oh no, have you seen, I've seen beautiful eyelash extensions. And in order to like frame the eye and individually pick ones of different lengths and of like different curl factors and maybe a variety of different colors to make it look so natural. I've seen them look just gorgeous. I mean, where you're just like, no, I want it. Now, however, we live in a world where all the eyelashes we see in everyday life looks like, drag lashes that are just glued on, but somehow they've been applied by someone who's charging, however much money for it. I cannot tell you why it's like taken over the world that women are just like spidery dietery, but that's what they've chosen. And listen, good job, girl. Do you? Not for me. Anyway, what?
So, she does custom fetish videos for different men. Some men want her in a bikini sitting on their birthday cake that she's made for them. Then some men want her to pop balloons in her bikini. And so there's just like various things that men purchase things from her. She has OnlyFans, I'm thinking maybe. But she makes a decent living, enough to be able to send Everton money during the pandemic, which very happy for her in that, and very happy for him. So he doesn't know that she's a nudist. He doesn't know that he kind of knows she's a nudist, but isn't okay with it. And he doesn't know that she makes her money doing sex work. Now we move over to Everton. She says that they're on and off. They've been on and off in a relationship for 12 years, but they have been steady for the last, I think, 3 or 4. And she said that even though Everton is somebody that, even though she would dated other people, Everton is somebody that she's always loved, and he's kind of always been in the background. Mm-hmm. So we then meet Everton. Everton is from Jamaica, but has been living in the Grand Cayman for 18 years, and he's on a boat. He captains a boat. Now, I don't think that boat is his. He obviously works for somebody and does captain this boat called the Loose Cannon, which doesn't seem like a boat that I would want to get on because it feels like it's wily and does whatever it wants.
Yeah, like would you go on like a boat called the Sinking Ship or Titanic's Ugly Sister?
I wouldn't. I would no. I also wouldn't go on the boat being called Crazy Lucy. You know, like anything that makes it seem like it's wily and like does whatever. I know I already used that word, but it's like, you know, kind of crazy.
It's the suspect shipped.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like a suspect of what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically she had gone on the Loose Cannon 12 years ago and she locked eyes with him, honey, and it was just, they knew, just sparks, bagarks, and they've just been on and off, obviously, as was said. And then, then just like saved his life. And when we meet him, he is lovely. He seems genuinely warm, like, you know, just first impressions. I mean, he seems like he's incredibly grateful for not only the fact that she like gave him financial assistance, but also 12 years is a long time. This isn't a thing. I mean, that's a long ass time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like she's 38, he's 47. So 28, like she met him in her mid 20s or her late 20s. And same, he's like, you know, late 30s. So that's a long time to kind of go back and forth with somebody that you met on a girl's trip to the Cayman Islands, you know? So that's why I kind of feel like their relationship might actually be real, you know, because it's been something that they've kind of worked on and forever. However, towards the end of their segment, when she's talking to her homegirls, it is evident that she isn't very clear in whether or not they're actually affianced. Next scene we have is her whipping up some snacks because her girls are coming over, and she's naked because she's in her home and she wants to feel comfortable. And so, I mean, I'm just very admirable of anybody who could just be just naked, you know, whole vagina out in front of all these camera folks. So they knock on the door. She goes to the door in her apron, and her friends are used to her being naked, I guess. And so she's like, I'm in my own home. But she doesn't sit there naked. She actually goes and puts on a little outfit, and they're like, thank God you covered up. And so she has a conversation with her homegirls, Alexa and Heather. And they have a lot of questions, a lot of good questions to ask her about Everton. We find out that she's taken out a mortgage or, you know, equity out of her home, not a mortgage, equity out of her home. And she's gave him 6 figures to purchase land, and that they're going to put an apartment building maybe and have like a little business on this land. And the friends are like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, I made him executor of the estates or something. And she's like, they're like, what? She's like, wasn't that what you do with your husband? And they're like, he's not your husband. And they're like, where's your ring? And she's like, and they're like, when did he ask you? She's like, well, he asked me in the first 4 years of our marriage, our relationship. And I just assumed that we were still affianced because we used to call each other fiance when we were together 10 or 8 years ago. And now that we're back on track, I assumed I'm her fiance. But my only concern is that he takes care of a lot of people and that he might give the money to those people that he takes care of.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, listen, any woman who gets with a man from a foreign country that is considerably less available for money to be had, please assume that he is going to give money to his family, not only his mother, his 2 baby mamas, as Everton has, as well as other people who might ask, like cousins, because that's what you do when folks are poor. You see somebody doing well, you ask them for money. It's culture. Chris?
Yeah, you know, it's just, here's the thing. Yes, it is. But sometimes it's not their money. And you would just have to parcel out from that person's own money after you've gotten your share too, what that person can give. That's the only way to make that kind of thing work, you know, like, because that person isn't the breadwinner that's bringing in all the money. So it doesn't make sense for that person to give other people's money away to like their own family. So, but that's financial boundaries. And there's emotional boundaries and there's financial boundaries and there's the ways in which you navigate all of it. And it requires communication. And I think that like when we talk about, or when they say like, relationships, the key to successful relationships is communication. It's for some reason being unceasingly or unwaveringly able to really have honest and authentic conversations that might be uncomfortable and that might start out being awkward or defensive, somehow having the hope that you'll get over it and it'll be better because of it. Like, and I hate confrontation, like we said, so that is scary. It's scary to think of, but like that's the honest answer of what should be happening in a lot of cases, and it never does.
Yeah. So it's interesting to find that out about Jordan. So now she's another silly fool going into a situation doing too much when the person hasn't shown her that they are willing to do the same or can return the favor in any real way. So
can also, because what happens is then is she going to go and then require him to produce the way that she wants to be taken care of and the way that she can produce in America? Like that's like,
yep.
Then there's the flip side of that happening. And the truth is no, because that's not the way that the world works there. And if they could do that, then they probably would have been doing that. And doesn't make sense. So it's like, it's so interesting to watch these things play out. But maybe we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Now, I just want to say this: the custom fetish videos are so interesting. Like, and I really want her to be doing other things. And I kind of wanted her to have said that she was able to get all the money for this new business venture with like the money that she made in that. It made me sad and upset. And I think that like what was also devastating for her friends to hear was that she took the money out of her home equity, which then like ruins your credit or whatever. Like, then there's like things you can't do if you default on that or if someone fucks you over.
Wait, no, it's not the mortgage. It's wait, is mortgage and home equity the same thing?
Did I say mortgage?
No, I said mortgage, which is when you take out a second on your home and then you take money from it and then you have like another couple of years of paying on it. But then equity, I didn't think it messed up your credit, which is why I was asking you that. I don't know, but I didn't think that it did.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely mess up your, I can't remember what, now I'm like looking back, I don't remember exact verbiage that she used, but it definitely made us feel.
She said equity, but I mentioned mortgage thinking and like made them the same, but they're not the same, I thought, which I can ask, my parents who are homeowners. I don't know anything about it. I'm not a homeowner, but I assume that when you took out equity of your home, that it wasn't bad. That's why.
Oh yeah, no, it's anytime you do anything where you take money out that it's bad. You're lessening your financial stability and what you own and what can be used and leveraged because you're leveraging it. So so basically your friends are like, you're dumb, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see.
Because we get that one conversation with him, but then nothing really else yet. And I'll say this, in the previews for the next episode, it's revealed that she has gotten a devastatingly bad voicemail or note that has changed everything. Anyway.
Interesting. All right. Next couple are Scott and Lydia. Good for them. Wow, I've never seen like Lydia look more like Nicole ever in this moment than this picture. If you're watching on patreon.com/DocuSweeties, you would see it.
Yeah. She got to glow up like nobody's business for this. Like they, obviously we meet the stylist or whatever, but like they top to bottom her. They really did. Like, and it's also funny because you can see it in everyone's reactions to her, like Nicole's friends who are like, like it makes me feel like she got like full lipo and a BBL. A little bit. I'm not saying she did. Maybe her body is natural, but for some reason, the way everyone's reacting to her, like I don't remember her looking at like she did. Is it just a glow up of like extensions and like fancy clothes? And I mean, I can't quite tell what she did, but people's reactions are like, the swan.
It's wow. That was awful. Remember that show was awful. No, wow, that show was awful.
I'm so happy you so quickly got my reference.
Yeah, I watched it with you.
God, talk about people who've been friends for a long time.
Jesus. I watched that shit with you. Okay. Yeah, I remember I watched also like American Idol season 1 with you. Like, yeah. Anyways. So She got hair extensions. She got eyelash extensions. She no longer has her glasses on. And they dress her less, lawyery now.
She has a face like the stepsister from Disney's A Cinderella.
Oh my God. Griselda?
Yeah, like there's something, it's so funny. So she, in the confessionals, really gives off what I'm assuming is her lawyer aesthetic vibe, because in so many other scenes she is like crazed muppet, and like that's the Lydia that we know. She's playing at something in such a way in this season that is so funny to me, but I guess go her, so here they are, it's her and Nicole has it in her mind that, listen, Lydia is about to meet Scott. It's the night before. Lydia hasn't had sex since 2009. It's been
12
a fucking
years.
minute.
Yeah.
She wants to get it in. So Nicole's like, I almost want to give her like a bachelorette party vibe to get her hot, to get her like happening. And then in Lydia's own confessional, she's like, look, like Latina women, we warm up quick. We're easy to warm. We're, like you can just kind of like turn us on, it takes even though it's been that long, it will happen pretty facile, honey. So anyway, God bless. So all of Nicole's
easy.
So all our friends are there, and then we also meet what is to be their stylist, which I would like to know more about. Like, what is he also giving Nicole advice? And then they all start to give her trashy lingerie, and that's when, of course, she puts this like thong on her head. Is it bad that I'm like, you don't still do law, right, Lydia? Like, you don't still do it, only because it's like there's not a chance in hell that anyone would hire. But I'm not like,
they would hire her. Kind of she's a celeb. Yeah, you can. She's a celebrity attorney.
Okay.
At this point, yeah, you can.
She's the Gloria Aldred. Okay.
Yeah, okay. No, she's not Gloria Aldred. She is the ponytail guy from Lindsay and Blaine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that guy stays with work because of 90 Day Fiance. You wouldn't hire her, but there are people who would. So like,
look at this Sex and the City. God bless.
No, don't ever say that. Take it fucking back. Don't ever compare whatever is happening in 90 Day Fiance to anything as fabulous as Sex and the City. This entire scene made me very upset. It was a lot of squealing and giggling and laughing, and I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, stop it. And all of the condom putting on the cucumbers. Look at all those cucumbers on that table. And you would be able to see that if you would join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties, which you could see the visuals of what you're listening to today. It was just ridiculous. Now, the condom putting on, yes, important. But all of that, like, I just was like, I can't take it. I had to like fast forward a little bit through it.
Lydia lost her goddamn mind. It was almost like, did someone slip her like a shroom gummy? Like, she was like on one this entire scene. I couldn't quite understand her voiceover, but let's go from one shrieking sex fest to another. Scott and his mom, honey. So basically, Scott and his mom go to pick up some pizzas, honey, and like there's 2 pizzas, and the topping choices are, I just want like, this is like dumb, I want to break it down. The topping choices are cheese or everything, which is the most black and white of all pizza options ever. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, that seemed so harsh to me that I was just like, wait. No. You cannot give me the options of nothing or fucking everything. That's like the most aggressive sensory option for me. Like, I feel like, no, I want like one that's like pepperoni, or like pepperoni and black olive is my personal fave, or like margarita, with like the like basil leaves. Like, I like, like, and maybe like one white one, like, like no sauce, or I don't even know, like one that's like meat, like, pepperoni sausage, and the other one is like vegetarian, or meat and you just like not everything and nothing, doesn't make any goddamn sense. And I'll tell you, the mom then, she also drinks it down with a cold bottled frappuccino, or the ones in the bottle. And I just like LOL'd over that, because it sort of is like, there's something incredibly comforting and old school about the thought of those 2 tastes together, because it's basically milk and pizza.
And coffee? Oh,
milk and pizza. It's okay. No, it's that bottled frappuccino. So it's not, it's like, it's what it is, coffee flavored milk.
Oh.
Because it's like when you get.
No, I know what it is. I never registered it as coffee flavored milk.
I'm
new to the coffee game.
Oh, that's what it tastes. I mean, it's very sweet.
Sweet, very sweet.
Yeah, it's like sweet. Yeah, it's like it literally would it take to me. It's like she's eating pizza with strawberry milk, but instead of it's like pizza with chocolate coffee milk.
Yeah. She has a lot to say, doesn't she?
She had a
She has
lot to
a
say.
lot to say, which I love for Scott. Scott looks like a lion with pretty teeth, doesn't he not?
Scott looks like, also someone said this on Instagram, that he looks like he's a member of Whoville. Like he has a very deep, like little whatever. It's not a cleft palate, but like whatever that little like Cupid's bow. His Cupid's bow is more like a Cupid's like equator. It's like like Cupid could like fall in like the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the fault line of that. But however, he's a big man. It made me a little sad for him that he's like, I can't eat too much pizza, and I was like, no, yes you can, because it's like
maybe he's lactose intolerant.
No, because he said, because the way he said it was like he can't eat too much because he wants to have a good body or whatever. And I was just like, I don't understand. It makes me sad only because I'm like, if you are such a big guy and you are working out so much, can't you fucking just eat whatever you want? Because aren't you gonna go to the gym and like burn 700 calories? I mean, don't you burn 700 calories by being? If he goes to the gym and lifts weight, doesn't he burn like 4,000 calories? If you can, I mean, I just want people. I feel bad that I can't eat whatever I want, and so for someone who I feel like should, because he's like physically burning calories, makes me sad for him that he can't. But all I'm gonna say is I get it, and even it's just interesting.
Yeah, I have to share with you. I watched a documentary last night called Bigorexia, where it's men, and mostly men. There are some women, but mostly men who have not the opposite of anorexia, but they have a condition where it is muscle. They want to be big. And if they don't look like they're big in pictures and they don't look like the biggest person on social media, that they work like out 6 hours a day. Like most bodybuilders have it, because you have to have it in order to like do the things that you do. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like the opposite of anorexia. Not the opposite of it, but the bulking up portion of it.
Well, yes, his body. Yeah, if you're like obsessed
it's body
with your
dysmorphia.
Body.
Yeah, it's like it's a form of body dysmorphia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, his mom and him eat pizza, and they start talking. He's like, what do you think of Lydia? And it's obvious the mom has like seen her they talked on FaceTime. The mom like gives it to him straight up, like, and this is the second time we've heard this, so this is very interesting. She's like, she's too old for you. She's too old. You usually date women that are like 25 to like 43, or that's what he said. I don't know. He said like 39. I don't know what he said.
He said 30 to 46. And then the mom's like, I know my son. And guess what? You're like your father. You have a high sex drive. And then she went in to tell us about how this man was running after her until his last days.
Like a dog, honey, just like looking for a bone, honey, just like she had to like run around her house. She like, wee. It was just like she was like a constant French maid, like trying to like hide in the curtains, like.
I mean, the man has been single for 10 years, playing around since he got divorced. And like he's a nurse. He's not a nurse. He's a respiratory therapist. So he works in a hospital. And I guess his son is too. I did a deep dive on his Instagram. Not a deep dive.
I was like, how? Yeah, thank you. I was like, how the fuck does she know all this?
I did a look-see-loo on his Instagram. And, I mean, I'm happy for Lydia, and I hope it works out, besides the spoiler that we got. And so he's getting ready to go, and mom's like, no, she's not going to be enough for him. And then at the end, before we like go off to the next segment, she's like, well, at least she can't get pregnant.
Jesus.
Yeah. Christ. I was like, wow. But the mom is like, when women get older, they want to have sex less and less. And I said, didn't you just tell us your husband was running up behind you? I mean, unless her husband died before she was Lydia's age, which we don't quite know what Lydia's age is. I thought it was 56. But did she say it?
Yeah, I think she is 56.
But she didn't tell Scott how old she was, and he just assumed she was in her 50s. So I like the fact. I like it.
So yeah, so basically he gets there, and this part was interesting because she is standing there, and it felt like she was posing. Like, how did she not realize that he was coming up and there's like cameras and stuff? Basically, he runs up and picks her up and throws her around. She like loves it. Yeah. She's like screaming as like, like it's so funny. Like we just saw her lose her goddamn mind with those underwear on her head, and then she does the exact same thing. She's like squealing like a 14-year-old girl. She cannot stop it. Like they cannot understand one word of each other, because the entire time they've been talking, they've using a translator app. And so they see each other like they just like, it's like her talking and him like, nope. And then when they are finally having their own confessional, this translator in the moment has to like do things because she'll be so excited to talk about him, and it's very obvious that he doesn't understand one thing. He says that he knows basic Espanol, but even the way he said Espanol made me consider the fact that he knows nada Espanol.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's because you learn Spanish here in school, and then you go to a country that speaks the Spanish differently than you would speak it here.
Oh yeah.
So unfortunately, like when you're with when I'm with Puerto Ricans or Dominicans, it's a shot in the dark whether or not I'm going to be able to understand them. Just because of the way they speak it, the lyricalness of the tone and the way they speak it sounds differently. So a word that's like gracias, which is what I would hear, it sounds like gracias, or it sounds different, and I don't pick it up. The same thing in like Guatemala. Like Frank will say some things, and I'm like, what? And then he'll say it slower, and I'm like, oh, great. Or like even something simple as like in the way I learned Spanish, you say frijoles for beans. Some folks say habichuela. There's like a different word for it. So I'm like, oh, great. Okay, I said it wrong. Or like some people say, instead of saying brown as café, they say marron. And so you just don't know. So interesting.
I'll go back. Him lifting her up bodes well for their sex life. She's not had sex in a very long time. He obviously can't wait to have sex. They don't even really obviously can understand each other, but she even mentions that he has told her that he likes to have sex and they're going to have sex.
Yeah. And I'm so happy for her.
So, as he picks her up and as she's like living their life and as, things are happening for her. I mean, it feels interesting that this is a 90 Day Fiance show, because this is not a 90 Day Fiance scenario and never will be. This is literally a one night kind of like sex tourism vacation we're just watching on a show called 90 Day Fiance. It should have been called like Fucking in Paradise or Lust in Paradise or, like One Night Stands, like none of those people could have ever been unless Carlos and Valentine might be the only one, but it's like, I can't imagine one of these couples truly being it. Go ahead.
You're right. No, you're right. Like, and I didn't even think of that. So very astute, like point to be pulled up, Chris, because Carlos and Valentine are going to get married so Carlos can eventually come to the US. Juan and Jessica are going to get married so Juan could eventually come to the US. Like, Lisa Jordan thinks that she's going to get married to Everton, and that she's going to move there so that they can have a business together and some land. Like, everyone believes that they are going to be in a relationship, whereas Lydia and Scott are just meeting each other for the first time and seeing if it works. They are really before the 90 days the other way. They are before the 90 days the other way to see like what's going to happen.
Yeah, or they're Lydia's single life and he's just one of her season.
You're right. They're Lydia's single life. Oh my God, that would be so great if she were on the single life. Why'd they put her on this show? Good.
People are very upset that she's on the show. Like all the Instagram. Really? Oh yeah. I live in the Instagram comments of these shows trying to get people to follow us by putting funny comments on it. So if you ever see it, just go ahead and like it. Anyway, so, but yeah, like people are very upset that her and Nicole are on it. People don't like them. Don't like her and Nicole. They're not big fans. And so they're like, in the same way, how you see a lot of vitriol about seeing Angela Deem again, like, why do we gotta see them? Which is, they're not wrong. It's a valid viewpoint. That's what they feel about there too. So
maybe it's because they didn't watch The Family Chantel.
Yeah, or they did.
I mean, I think if you watch The Family Chantel, you would come out thinking a little differently. Like you would think a little differently about Lydia. Like I understand people not wanting Lydia on the show because people are mad at her for the way she treated Pedro and the way she's treated Nicole. Like, yeah, but like so interesting. Good to know. Thanks for that tidbit. All right. Do you have anything else to say?
No, except obviously we have new people to meet and new episodes. So we're chugging along.
Yep. All right, guys. So we will talk to you later.
Yes. Follow us on social media at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok, at DocuSweeties1 on Twitter. That's where you can see my fun comments, mostly on Instagram, and where you're going to like them and then reply back to me. And then I'll like talk to you and then we'll like be friends. And then Tell us how other things happen.
So you can follow on Patreon. You can follow us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties to see the visuals of what you're doing. It's $10 a month, 2 Starbucks coffees a month. I mean, like, you can do it, right? Like, there's a Starbucks around the corner. I might walk there and get some coffee. Oh no, why would I do that when I have a full Nespresso? I'm not going to do that. Anyways, I want a donut. That's why. Anyways, so you should do that. We go live every first Monday of the month. It's great. We talk about our lives. We get really like vulnerable with you. And so if you want to do that, join our Patreon. Again, patreon.com/DocuSweeties. And we love your guys' support. Thank you to all of our new people who joined us from Reality Gays, who joined us from Married to Reality. Like, we really appreciate your love and support. And we love what we do. So we hope that you would love and support us. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye.